What's up, Raider Nation? It's been a minute. I'm Hardcore Raider. This is Hardcore Raider Talk, and we're going to be talking about some stuff today. We're going to get into a lot of topics here, and first, we're going to start out with the intro.
Look, happy holidays, Raider Nation nationwide.
Let's go.
Get some.
What's up, Raider Nation? I am Hardcore Raider, and I'm back. I've been busy. I've been grinding, and we got a lot of topics to get into today, man. And it's been a crazy off season, dude. Can we say it's been a crazy off season? I'm sure it has for everybody that's a Raider fan right now. So, first of all, give some shout outs in the chat here. Raider Rich, man, what's up, my brother, man? I respect you a lot. I appreciate you, man, for coming in. Raider Rich said, man, he was bumping some Randy Rhodes. That's tight, man. But hey, dude, I wanna start this podcast out. Mean, dude, Mean 519. Oh, I love Mean, dude. Appreciate you guys. I love Raider Rich, everybody that tunes in. Thank you guys, man. And it's been a minute since we've done a podcast. I've been busy with work, man, and I do construction. I've been me and another guy are in charge of a framing project, building a custom house. So it's taken a lot of my time and energy. And, I'm very grateful for the opportunity where I'm at in life. But, there's a lot of meat left on this bone with what's going on in the offseason. We're going to get into some of that. But one of the other things we want to talk about is, what the vision was for the Hardcore Raider Nation podcast. This is Hardcore Raider Talk. This is me solo doing my thing. And the Hardcore Raider Nation podcast was to bring in a bunch of other great Raider minds, usually the Raider content providers, and just bring everybody together. And we accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. And from the subscribers, everybody that joined in, to everybody that was instrumental for the progress that we had and what we were building for the Hardcore Raider Nation podcast. And we're still going to do it. We, like I said, I've been busy, so we're going to be working on a schedule and getting some topics lined up and stuff. But, there was a lot of pieces and people that helped that show come together, from Watts, Raider Critique, Raider Dave, Mojo, other guys that tuned in, like once, like Captain Jack, Raider Cody, Kenny King Jr., Murph, Violator, Q, Monster Mash Ken, of course, my buddy, Big Tuna from Bigger Broader, he was a returning guest. And, I know I'm missing guys. I'm going off my dome. We had a lot of guys, like, just to think back of how we were able to end that season with just some really great Raider minds coming together to talk Raider football. Anybody I missed, I'll get the list down and give proper shout outs. But, I just want to do like how the season we were able to get a lot of people together and how much that meant to me. And, we'll keep doing it down the road and, just go from there. Who else we got in here? We got David Marks, man. What's up, brother? Appreciate you, man. And, hey, everybody, let me know if you can hear me all right. I do got a green screen, man. You guys see this, dude? Is this dope or what, dude? I'm like, look at that. Boom, dude. Like, is that not just, gets me excited, man. So, we got Taco Sore, man, dude. Appreciate you as well, dude. All right, so we got some of those things out of the way. One of the other things is a lot of guys are doing the 1,000 subscribers. It's something I've wanted to do for a minute, trying to do like giveaways. I'm at 400 subs right now. And, I don't do this for money and stuff. I would like to be at a point where if I have 1,000 subscribers, I can live stream from my phone at some point, if I go to Raiders game or something to share that with you guys. But you can't do that as a YouTube creator unless you have 1,000 subscribers. I'm not big time. We ain't trying to do that, and whatnot. But, at some point we'd like to get there. But right now, my goal is to hit 500 subs, so anybody that can share this, and if you're new, please subscribe. But, I'm going to do something for all you guys or for like a giveaway deal when we hit 500 subs. So, I ain't big like Mojo, Raider Cody, giving away autograph stuff, man. They got deep pockets or something, but, I'll hook you guys up with something, so that was one of the things I wanted to cover. And, let's get into, some of this talk and what's going on in the Raider Nation community. All the fighting and bickering like a bunch of little high schoolers, man. And it's just like, I've heard it all at this point, there's still a lot of meat left on the bone, but I'll tell you what, man, I've heard it all. And, I appreciate all the YouTubers, man, the Raider YouTubers out there. I do, even if they have different opinions, and, but it's gotten toxic to the point, and this is one of the reasons why I haven't done a podcast where people are attacking each other personally and then like sinking down low to do a name calling. And, for me, like, I'm 37 years old. I just ain't got time for that shit, And so I got into it with like a couple like new YouTubers that are like fucking high school kids or something, dude. And these kids, I'm just like, dude, these guys were in diapers when the fucking Tuck Rule game happened, if they were even born, So got me kind of fired up. But I just took a step back from some of the shit, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need that, and that's not what this channel is about. It's not to create division and stuff like that. Anybody that knows me, and if you know me well enough, I can roast any motherfucker any day of the week. Trust me, dude. And some of the Raider YouTubers, man, they're not keeping it 100. They're telling a biased take to fit their agenda or their view, and that's what pisses me off. And then when people are sinking low to do the name calling, it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? So I'd rather just take a step back and like, I don't need to be part of that. So I wanted to get that out of the way because, there's a lot of stuff going on that I'm sure has gotten not just me, but others pretty fired up, and the QB situation, we are going to talk about it. And it's toxic to some degree, and, we'll kind of dive into some of that here in a little bit. Takasor said, what do I think about Derek Carr? For a second and a third, and then drafting Love with a first, not trying to cut you off or anything, just wondering. Yeah, I am going to get into that. I got lists of stuff we'll get into, brother, man. And then, remind me towards the end, and then we'll kind of, get into that at the end of all this. So, all right. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is something I said on Pillaging Podcast, and that was last year before Hard Knocks. I called pretty fired up. I was not excited about Hard Knocks. And you know what I said? I said, enjoy your shit sandwich. And anybody thinks that Hard Knocks didn't go hand in hand with Antonio Brown's destruction, I don't know what to tell you guys, man. The dude is a freaking fiend for drama. And because he couldn't be on the field, he self-destructed, And then everybody's blaming Antonio Brown like the Raiders can't play fucking football. And I'm just like, dude, when are we going to stop having excuses, man? You know what I mean? Like we did eat a shit sandwich, in my opinion. Did I like seeing Hard Knocks? Yeah, but to some degree, I still have 5 episodes recorded, and I don't even want to watch it because the whole thing's about Antonio Brown and his stinky ass feet, man, and his helmet, and crying and shit. And I know that's not literally. There was other stuff in there, but to me, the whole season was tainted. Anytime I watch it, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm not going to be like happy I get to see the Raiders. So, I called it like it was before the shit even happened, and some people didn't like that I called it like it was, man. I said, enjoy your shit sandwich. And that's what we got, I'm just keeping it real. So one of the other things with all the stuff going on at the quarterback position, I warned everybody. I did. I said, don't get macked, Raider Nation. Anybody that knows me, you know that I've said that. Now, what have I meant by don't get macked? How many of you guys remember when let's go before Mac got traded? How many people in the Raider Nation remember when that shit happened that we did not think it was going to happen? And how did you feel after it happened? Most 98% of Raider Nation were fucking livid, pissed off to the core. And we should be. Mac was a great player. He was an awesome Raider. But when I came up with this saying, don't get Macked, the same shit is happening right now, and it's going to happen. If Jon Gruden trades Derek Carr, which I think is going to happen, and I felt that before all this clickbait shit happened, the opinions I have right now today were the same before the last month, and all these rumors came out with Tom Brady and Derek Carr and everything else, man. And guess what? Everything that I knew in here is coming into fruition, dude. It's like I saw this shit storm coming. I saw the shit sandwich coming straight for Raider Nation. If it happens and Derek Carr gets traded, guess what? And I'm not at this point, I'm not even saying this from how I feel about Derek Carr. If it happens, Raider Nation's going to blame Jon Gruden, and you guys are going to be fighting each other just like what happened when Khalil Mack got traded. And it's going to be even worse. It's building up to this toxic thing. And what? Are people going to be fist fighting over Derek Carr in the draft? I mean, we need to get fucking real, you know? That's what I'm saying in all this. So, you know, all right. So let's see if there's any people in the chat. Give a quick shout out, man. Still got David Marks, Taco in there. Mojo, man, what's up, brother? Yeah, I love Mojo, man. You guys check out his show. We got Grimy Raider from Grimecast, man. What's up, Grimy, dude? I love you, brother, man. And you know, Grimy was a huge Kobe and Lakers fan. I'm sure a lot of Raider fans are Lakers fans. I'm not a huge basketball guy, but you know, shout out to Raider Dave because I know Kobe meant a lot to you, man. And it's just sad to see someone that was a great leader and legend like that leave. So, you know, much respect to Kobe and anybody that loves, you know, the Lakers like that. So, I think we had someone else join. David Marks. I don't remember if I said what's up to you, man, but you said we should have traded Carr and kept Mack. Yeah, I don't know if we had enough rich blood. We would have had to not sign Carr to that contract, or I don't know, dude. It's hard to think about it, but I mean, it's very questionable at this point, you know. However, with Mack lacking in sacks last year, I mean, you know, if you think about it, it's like, well, maybe it wouldn't have been worth it at the same time. But, you know, maybe last year was just a down year for Mack, and this year will be a lot better. No Mack, please. MCH, man, what's up, brother? Ultra Bat, San Francisco, Worldwide, what's up? All right. One of the things I want to talk to you guys about this Derek Carr and this quarterback situation is a few things. First of all, me and Raider Dave last year, we did an episode on his channel talking about Derek Carr, talking about great things about Derek Carr. Okay. I was not bashing on Derek Carr, and I did not have an issue with him being our quarterback. I wanted him to excel and be the guy. And this year was a turning point for me personally. I'm not going to get into how I got to this point. Okay. With Derek Carr, I'm going to ask you guys some questions that you guys can, you know, put on your thinking cap and come up with your own answers. I'm not going to answer them right now or go over it, but I'm going to ask you guys some questions. And I'm also extremely aware of the quarterbacks that we've had over the last 30 years. Okay. And me and Raider Dave covered it, but I'm going to revisit it because of all the people that's extremely aware of the quarterbacks we've had, like I am one of those guys. Okay. Here's the last 30 years of quarterbacks we've had. Jay Schrader, Steve Berline, Todd Hostetler, Vince Evans, Billy Joe Hobart, Donald Hollis, Wade Wilson, Jeff George, Rick Meyer, Rich Gannon, Kerry Collins, Aaron Brooks, Josh McCown, Dante Culpepper, Charlie Fry, Jamarcus Russell, Bruce Gradkowski, Kyle Boiler, Jason Campbell, Carson Palmer, Terrell Pryor, Matt Flynn, Matt McGloin, EJ Manuel, and Derek Carr. Now, I only covered guys that started a few games for us or something like that, not backups. And, you know, I know the list is longer than that. But to me, Derek Carr is a great man, great human being. And he's the second best quarterback on this list. To me, Rich Gannon is still better than Derek Carr. Okay. And Well, I don't know what to say to that, Mojo. I'd have to talk to you on a personal note to figure out where that's coming from. But all right. So on this QB list, man. I know what you're saying, because the quarterback list, we need to be humbled because I don't understand this fucking list. Is that what you're saying? Here, you guys see that list? Let me turn that. There you go. I mean, I can read it again for you guys. I mean, I'm not fucking stupid. You know, how many people will still like 8 years old or in their diapers when the Tuck game happened, huh? How many people even fucking remember that game? All right. So next thing up on the docket is these questions for Derek Carr. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do in this episode for you guys right now. I'm taking off my fan hat, my messy hair. I'm taking off my jersey. Because right now, you call me fucking coach, and I want better fucking execution. You know what I'm saying? I want better fucking execution. What the fuck happened to that? We forget about that shit? So put your GM hat on, put your coaching hat on, take off your lenses, and fucking listen up. How has Carr developed with Coach Gruden over the last 2 years? How much more ceiling of development of growth can Carr have with another year and a star wide receiver? What has Carr done with a top offensive line? What and how has Carr progressed since he entered the league? What has Carr done with it since his contract? How has Carr earned his contract? How does Carr's contract compare to the league? What free agent or rookies' contracts compare to Carr's contract? How much lack of production for Carr in 2018, 2019 were system, talent around, or key situational circumstances? How much stats were skewed by last minutes of a game? Is Derek Carr the future? Is Derek Carr a system fit? How does the new NFL fit or not fit for Derek Carr? How does Carr's personality fit Coach Gruden, vision, leadership, and players? How is Carr's leadership for the future? If Carr is not the future, is he the guy to transition, teach, and be a leader to set the tone for new blood? Does Carr make players around him better? Does Carr hold players accountable? How many wins does Carr give the Raiders in 2020? How many wins does another quarterback give the Raiders in 2020? Does Carr excite the new Vegas hype and grow the brand? Does Carr help get free agents hyped to join the Raiders? And maybe one other thing I'll throw in there, right, is hair's jacked up. Other thing I'll throw in there is how many players have played with Derek Carr say that he's an amazing guy. That's always the first thing they say. I ain't ever heard one player say that Derek Carr is the best quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks, except for maybe James Jones. You know? And those are just the facts, man. That's it. Now, I'm not going to answer those questions. But if you're the coach or the GM of the Raiders, that's the questions they're going to be asking themselves. Whether they trade Carr, keep Carr, draft a quarterback, don't draft a quarterback, get a free agent quarterback. That's it, man. So as everybody's attacking each other and they're throwing out skewed stats and all this shit, I'll get into that on another episode about Derek Carr and why I'm at this point, this breaking point with him. But you got to look at it through an unfiltered lens. Too many people, dude, got their lenses on, and it's bonkers, man. I'm not going to attack people, man. I'm going to try not to, but I've heard it all this offseason. All right. Don't get macked, Raider Nation. Do not get fucking macked. We're Raider fans first. Always remember that. All right. Next, we're going to get into some free agents, okay? And I'm just going to go over this from a buy. I'm going to, I told you guys, I took off my jersey, dude, took off my fan hat. I'm going to try to play coach or GM to look at this through another lens. All right. And the list that I have, if we break down like quarterbacks and teams and stuff and the draft, if you combined all of them together, there could be potentially be 10 teams that need a quarterback and 12 potential starting quarterbacks, which means that there's going to be between at least 2, possibly up to 5, I would say, of quarterbacks that are going to be left in the dust, you know? All right. And Sanjoku, dude, what's up, brother, man? I appreciate you, dude. And I know you're a big Carr supporter, dude. I don't want to get into it on this one, dude, and whatnot, but you know, here's the last thing I'll say about Derek Carr. To me, he's like McFadden. If you guys have been Raider fans long enough, you guys remember McFadden. We all just waited, dude. Like McFadden was gonna be the guy, dude. You remember that, dude? How fast he was? Closest thing we ever saw from McFadden was when we had Hugh Jackson as our coach, and he was the leading rusher in the NFL until he got hurt against the Chiefs. And he never panned out. So could Carr blow up on the scene? He could. Could have McFadden blown up on the scene? He could have, but he didn't. And those are just the harsh reality facts. Maybe it was the dirt. I mean, we could go into that, but nevertheless, it didn't happen, you know? So, all right. So here's the list of free agents and whatnot of starting quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the NFL. Okay. This is the non-filtered lens, and this is like the GM hat. Derek Carr, Tom Brady, Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, and probably Marcus Mariota, or questionable if he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Right there, you have 6 quarterbacks that are probably starting quarterbacks. No matter what team they play for, they're probably going to start, okay? If you do an honorable mention, you could maybe throw Casey Keenum in there and maybe Blake Bortles. Guys that still have contracts that might end up on another team would be Andy Dalton and Cam Newton, and that'd be 2 additionals, okay? For the draft, okay, here's the top 10 quarterback draft prospects, as probably most people know about them. Joe Burrow, and this, everybody cites different how they have them ranked, but just, you know, it's like give or take, you know, spots. But, you know, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason, Bryce Perkins, Jalen Hurts, Nate Stanley, and Anthony Gordon. All right. Now let's look at this from a coaching perspective when we're looking at, we'll start with these rookie quarterbacks, okay? I'm not going to give my opinion. You know, I thought really hard about this. Like, how can I not give my fan take? Because me being a Raider fan gets in the way of like looking at this from a broader perspective. And that's how coaches and GMs look at it. They look at it from a business and a production standpoint, okay? I'm going to try really hard not to give my opinion on these until the very end. That way I can separate. I'm playing like Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Of that list, I got, I don't want to start with him. Sorry. I got 4 guys in the draft that I think we should pay attention to. Okay. Now, got Metal Vault in here, dude. What's up, brother, man? You know, and I don't know if we had anybody else in here, but you know, I'm going to break down these 4 rookie quarterbacks, and there's a lot of like rookie quarterbacks coming in the NFL that I like. But the reality is, unless we get a second round pick somehow or trade up or something, it's just not going to happen. Like, they're out of our reach unless we go like out of position, or we like, you know, oh, instead of getting a wide receiver or a linebacker or maybe something else that we need more important than a quarterback, we're going to, you know, have to sacrifice some of those other needs of the team, you know? All right. So Tua Tagovailoa, he's 6'1", 218 pounds. Okay. The negatives or the questions is pretty much the injury. You know, we all know from Bo Jackson how a hip injury can be. Today's technology and doctors and stuff is a lot different than how it used to be. So, but you know, so the injury is probably the only question. There was some other stuff out there that maybe he lost some luster the year before in the championship game, but I'm not buying that. The one other question that could be a negative, just if you're a wide receiver, is catching a ball from a left-handed quarterback is a lot different than a right-handed quarterback. but I don't think that's that big a deal or unachievable to catch a ball from a lefty. And we all know Kenny Stabler, wasn't he a lefty, man? And he was from Alabama. So you know what? Things might just align. You never know. But obviously, everybody knows about Tua. He's super mobile, fast, great decision making, high IQ. He can throw bullets on a dime, great footwork, and then great pocket presence. I mean, Tua has some great characteristics that, if he fell to our lap, say at 12, I don't think you should trade up for a guy like that. And I do think Tua would be gone. But if and this isn't like my pre-draft stuff, that will be another time. But this is stuff for the quarterback. We need to look at the whole picture. But the point is on Tua is like, if he fell to you at 12, how could you not pull the trigger and take the gamble, even if he may not start the first year or something? I mean, I don't see how you can't take that gamble, and not if you're obviously the Raiders, but even other teams, man. I think you have to take the gamble. I mean, there's too much potential there for you to strike out if you don't. So we had a Southside Raider in here. What's up, brother, man? Kings only. What's up, man? Still got Mojo in here, man. Appreciate you, brother. And all right, next up. So Tua is a no question for me if he fell to you, but to move up for him, I think he'd have to give up a lot, and I'm not really down for that. For me, where I stand right now in the draft, real similar to Raider Dave. Raider Dave, I think, is one of the best minds when it comes to draft prospects. I've been checking him out for a couple years, so check out Grimecast, dude. He gives great takes on the draft and stuff, man, and he's very dialed in, has a smart mind for talent, dude. He was calling out players from Georgia and stuff, linemen and Alec Ingold before anybody else, dude. First person to say, that Jacobs was going to be a superstar. One of the first people, and the first person to say that he was like a Damian Tomlinson style. And I think Dave's take turned out to be true. So shout out to you, Dave. And all right, next up is Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love is 6'4", and I didn't realize Jordan Love was that tall, 6'4", whereas Tua is only 6'1", and a lot of quarterbacks have proven that height isn't everything, but I think 6'4" is a great height, like kind of middle of the road, not too tall, not too short, kind of that perfect height you would want for a quarterback, and especially because he's mobile. But some of the cons with Jordan Love is his field vision and awareness, careless throws, not patient, accurate deep, but misfires sometimes. Some of the great positives are his size, body comparison. Some people say he's like a Colin Kaepernick. Great mobility or good mobility. He runs fast and makes plays. He can throw while on the run. Quick release. Hangs in the pocket while his eyes are downfield, and then he can throw in zone coverages and then like midfield routes. So Jordan Love's somebody I'm gonna really keep an eye on for the combine, and that's one of the other reasons why I'm going over this list with you guys, is because there's some quarterbacks that I'm interested in that I want to keep an eye on in this off season and the combine, and see how everything goes. All right, and next up, Jalen Hurts. Some people are questionable on him. And then with Jordan Love, I didn't say this, but like he's projected. Let me see. I had it written down, and you go to like 3 different sites, and everybody has a different answer. But he's projected, I think, between like the first to second round. And it's like, how would you, with the Raiders, if we don't get a second round pick, I don't think we can get Jordan Love. I don't think he's going to last till the 3rd round. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. But I think that he's got enough talent to where he's probably gone by the time we pick in the 3rd round. All right. All right. So next up is Jalen Hurts. Now this is a guy who's probably a 2nd to 3rd round pick. Some people have him even going later than that, but I really think that this is a guy to keep your eye on that we might be able to get in the 3rd round without trading up and something like that. So some of the negatives, or he's 6'2", so still a good height, 218 pounds, was a 4-year college guy. So he was a senior. Obviously he was in Alabama and then went over to Oklahoma. So some of the negatives are his decision-making, force the ball security, Reads take too long, staring down wide receivers, and then some missed opportunities. Some of the positive things about Jalen Hurts is great mobility. He can run fast, extend plays, arm power, and great footwork. You know, so for these two guys, I'm gonna kind of roll them all together. So with the way the new NFL is changing, um, you know, uh, it's nice to be able to throw a deep bomb and have a quarterback that can throw an accurate pass. I don't think Jalen Hurts is that great of an accurate passer, like for a deep ball, but we'll see. That's just my generic analysis at this point. Jordan Love kind of has some of that same questionable issues, unless the receivers like really burn in the defender, which doesn't happen very often in the NFL. And then Tua is kind of the same way. So these first three quarterbacks are all like mobile quarterbacks that would be great for a West Coast system, for like these defenses that are playing more zone and stuff, and where you can get a lot of more of those middle of the field routes and stuff. So I think any three of those guys I could see John Gruden looking at and really being like, you know what, like, you know, um, let's take a strong look at these guys. So last up is Anthony Gordon, who's probably more like a 4th to 6th round pick. This guy's actually pretty interesting. I first found out from him because of Watts Raider, man. Shout out to Watts Raider. He was a big part of what we did on this channel for growing the Hardcore Raider Nation podcast and all the guests and stuff. But Watts did something on his channel about Anthony Gordon, and I was like, dude, like I didn't even know who this guy was, to be honest with you guys. So I started kind of, Watts is a pretty smart dude, man. So I started listening and, just kind of, I'm open. I'm not saying he's like a starter over Carr. I'm not saying necessarily any of these guys besides Tua, and Tua probably needs to sit for a while to get healthy, but none of these guys are probably better than Derek Carr necessarily, but you never know at the same time. All right. Anthony Gordon, 6'3", 210 pounds. Now this guy is not a mobile quarterback. He's more like your Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning style quarterback, more of the pocket passer. His dad was actually a pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. Some of the negatives with this guy, so he's kind of got some opposite stuff of some of these other guys, but negatives are footwork, mechanics, pocket presence, sits too long, above average arm, but accuracy has a little bit of questions on it. He was part of an air raid offense, so like their offensive play calling was schemed to get wide receivers open, like any team, but theirs, I guess, is more air raid than other teams. So they're passing the ball a lot more, from what I understood. But he worked from the bottom all the way up. Like he started in like no name lower end colleges until he like got a starting role for a bigger college. And I think that was the Washington. Was it Washington? No. Dang, now I can't remember what college it was, but he worked really hard to be a starting quarterback in college. So the fact, like anytime I can see a guy that grinds his way to try and make something of himself, to me that's huge. I'm like, dude, if someone's gonna put in the work and grind and stuff, man, like, you know what, that shows a lot to me. That's somebody that's hungry. They're not just gonna accept mediocrity and stuff. So that really falls into leadership and different characteristics that are really hard to teach a human being. So he's got great work ethic, great leadership. He's got a quick release, great for midfield passes. He always is really good at keeping his eyes downfield in chaos. So like if he's getting sacked, he doesn't just like crumble and stuff, or get happy feet. So that's good. His body maneuverability is like a Brady, Manning, or Rivers. So when he gets under pressure, he just like bobs and weaves. So he's not like one of these running quarterbacks that can like, just run for 40 yards or something. But at the same time, it appears that he's pretty good with, just kind of slivering his way so he doesn't get sacked as much. And then he actually was the quarterback before him was Gardner Minshew. So that's kind of interesting because we know that Gardner Minshew kind of came on the scene this year and nobody knew about him. He takes great control of the offense, and then he can be molded. So, those are the rookie quarterbacks I think we should keep an eye on, and guys that we could target. I'm looking at guys who wouldn't love Joe Burrow. I mean, come on, like, that guy's going to be pretty awesome. We're pretty sure, who wouldn't love Tua, but at what cost would we have to give up to get some of these guys, you know? But some of those guys I mentioned, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, and then Anthony Gordon. It'd be interesting just to keep an eye on them and see how the draft goes. So let's before we get on to the NFL quarterbacks, let's roll back up in the chat. Let's see if anybody we had Southside Raider in here. Mojo said Love could be something special. Yeah, dude. I honestly, of all the guys, well, I'm not giving my take right now, but I'll give you my opinion here in a little bit, man. Critiques in here. Oh, dude, what's up, man, dude? Raider Critique, dude. Shout out to you, brother, man. Appreciate you for coming in, man. Got to catch up, Critique, dude. We're gonna get some off-season schedules going, dude. We need to get you on the show, brother. All right. Draft raw talent, sign Brady is what Metal Vault said. We'll get into that a little bit, man. It's an interesting topic, that's for sure. So, all right, for the NFL quarterbacks, I chose 4 from each. All right. So, first up, I read off the list earlier. Okay. But I'll tell you right now, like Jameis Winston, I actually wrote some stuff down with him. He's kind of interesting to think about. But we all know he had a lot of interceptions. He had, did anybody besides me not know that he had 5,100 yards this year? It was like 5,109 yards. He threw for 5,100 yards, dude. Like, no wonder why he threw 30 interceptions, dude. That's a lot of freaking yards, man. It's actually kind of interesting to think about Jameis Winston. Gruden, we all know he coached for Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston, he's a Florida guy, so he probably wants to stay there. I don't think the Bucs are going to let him go. And honestly, I think the Buccaneers would be stupid to let Jameis Winston go. I think Jameis Winston, under the right coaching, can excel to be a great player still in the NFL. He has some flaws and stuff. But I think things like interceptions and stuff can be corrected through proper coaching, and repetition. They can break those habits. Look at Carr. I mean, look at Carr in 2018. He like literally threw right to the fucking Rams defensive players. And he's done it more than just that game, the first game of the year in 2018. And Gruden tightened up a lot of the interceptions from last year to this year. So if the Bucs let him go, I'd be interested to see what Gruden might, be interested in as far as Jameis Winston. I'm not sure he's worth the money he's probably going to want, but it'd be an interesting project if Gruden would want to take that on. So I'm not going to say too much about Jameis Winston. All right, but there's 3 other guys I'm going to talk about. All right. So Teddy Bridgewater, I looked up some 40 times just because I was interested. Teddy Bridgewater is an interesting prospect because he got drafted the same year as Carr. And a lot of people, it just seemed like forgot how good he was until he got hurt. Teddy Bridgewater was a great quarterback. I've been saying it for the last couple of years. I'm like, where's Teddy Bridgewater, man? How has he not got a shot in the NFL? Because I just had a feeling this guy was going to come on the scene. Now, obviously, the Saints have a way better selection of talent, with the wide receiver core and stuff than us and other teams. And that was a huge part of it. But Teddy did pretty good. His 40 time when he came out of college was 4.78 seconds. He's 6'2", 27 years old, and he was 5-0 with the Saints this year. He threw for here's the games that he threw yardage on: 281, 240, 314, 193, 177, and 165. Now, the last 3 stats of games were under 200 yards. You look at it and you're like, man, dude, why'd he suck? Well, he played the Dallas Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Rams. I would say all those teams have pretty good defenses. So that was probably a factor. I don't watch the Saints, so I can't tell you for sure. But to me, Teddy Bridgewater is an interesting draft prospect from the Gruden perspective. He was drafted in the first round in 2014. Last year, he was the highest paid backup at $7.25 million. He's great at short throws. Last 3 starts, he was 108 passer rating. He's expected to get between 24 to 30 million per year. 103.7 passer rating. He's mobile. He's smart. He's pretty good decision making. The one downside is like the interceptions. He did have more interceptions than you'd like to see out of your quarterback. So that's the downside. Yeah. Now a lot of people. Well, I'll wait till the end. I'll give my opinion on that. But I see Gruden wanting a guy like Teddy Bridgewater that's mobile. That would be good for a West Coast offense. The cost 24 to 30 million. I think that's questionable if Gruden would want to take that leap, but at the same time, you look at it and you're like, he's got Teddy Bridgewater is one of those guys that has more ceiling than not, so when you look at like their potential, because I personally don't think Teddy Bridgewater's reached his potential besides what we've seen when he was on the Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater is a good prospect to look at. All right, next up, Ryan Tannehill. Now, I'll go over Ryan Tannehill, but I really don't think there's any way the Titans are letting him out of that building. They're going to franchise tag him or something, But if he was available, I'd really like to seek avenues of Ryan Tannehill personally. He's a little up there in age, 31 years old. He had a 4.65 40 and he's 6'4". 4.65 40. That's pretty fast for a quarterback. And we all seen him tackle our lineman that almost got a touchdown, man. And I was like, that play actually pissed me off because I can't remember who it was, but somebody like could have blocked him from getting that tackle, and Hurst would have got the touchdown or whatever. But the downside is he gets sacked a lot. He throws the ball in like 2.81 seconds. Questionable deep pass, but he's really good with like intermediate field, middle of the field. Good at reading defense, throwing accurate midfield balls. Good at short drop backs. Great vision and tight window throws are good. Scheme executed better with Tannehill for the Titans. And then he led the NFL passer rating in the NFL. Obviously, he took him to the playoffs. He went to the playoffs in 2016 with the Dolphins. And then, as everybody knows, he's got tackling abilities if you need a tackler, man. So Ryan Tannehill is an interesting one. Probably going to be in that 30 mil range as a quarterback if he was let go. I think Gruden would be interested in him. I do. I mean, how could Gruden not want somebody that's a veteran? And if it's, if you were to cut Carr, you sign somebody like that, it's going to be a difference of probably, I'm going to range about $9 million more between the dropped cap space and the difference between paying another quarterback, Derek Carr. So, that's how I would look at this as well. Is a $10 million increase for the dropped cap space, this year, or dead cap space, and then what you'd have to pay additional on top of Carr's contract. Would that be worth it in signing? And that goes for all these guys. You have to look at the whole picture. Now this is one of the most interesting ones to me, and that's Marcus Mariota. His 40 time was 4.52 seconds. He's 6'4". He's actually taller than I thought. I thought he was like 6'2". But Mariota is one of these guys that's like, he's like that McFadden, kind of a lot like Carr. They got him and Carr got hurt on the same damn day, dude, like almost the exact same time or something. It was really weird. But Mariota is one of those guys where you're like, well, how come he's not producing? Is it coaching? Is it him? Does he not have the fire? Is it scheme? To me, it's like he's got the talent, like something's missing there. Either he's not good enough to be an NFL quarterback, or there could be some other stuff going on. And I tend to believe with Mariota, there's a lot of other things going on that's preventing him from bringing out the best in Mariota. And I'm not saying he's exactly a starter, but he's a guy that's probably going to be maybe $7 to $10 million range a year, unless another team thinks he's a starter. I mean, I don't see any way someone's going to pay him $25 million, $30 million a year. But if you could get a guy like that for around like, $10 million a year, and like if Gruden were to keep Carr, I mean, I could see something like that happening. So he's got a questionable deep pass. He's hesitant and slower decision making and inaccurate. Not executing on intermediate routes. Scheme versus coaching ? Anemic with Mariota is what one of the things I researched came up. But one positive thing about Mariota is, guess what Mariota's done that Derek Carr's never done? He beat the Chiefs in chief kingdom, queefdom. That's what I like to call it. But anyways, it's interesting that a guy like Mariota, like he sucks, but he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs at Arrowhead Stadium. We can't even get to the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. So it's interesting, That was a few years back, man. Everybody wants to put this weight on like Derek Carr did good in 2016. Well, guess who else did? Marcus fucking Mariota. All right. Honestly, well, I'll leave it alone. All right. So he's great in the red zone. Had like a 105.2 passer rating. It was the fourth best. This was before the 2019 season started, I believe. It was like 49-1 touchdown interception ratio in the red zone. That's pretty crazy stat, So he can score. A lot of that's his mobility, But he's athletic, mobile. He scrambles. He can run. His touchdown interception ratio is like 76 and 44. He's only thrown for 13,000 yards and what is it, like 5 seasons. Completion rating of 62.9. He's rushed for almost 1,400 yards almost. And then in 2016, when he had a really good season, he had 3,426 yards, but he had almost 350 yards rushing. So if you compare his rushing yards and his passing yards, I mean, he was almost right at 4,000, so you can't hate that, in my opinion. The one thing that is pretty funny about Mariota is he was the only guy to catch his own touchdown besides Brad Johnson. So that's pretty funny, So, all right, those were those QBs. Let's see what we got going on the chat, and then get this last QB out of the way and topic out of the way. All right. Southside Raider, man. What's up? He said he even beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Yep. And Anthony Ruiz, what's up, man? He's saying garbage. I'm not going to disagree with you, man. We got GG in here. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to kick this motherfucker the fuck out. Hey, come to my house, dude. I got a present for you. All right. Anthony Ruiz. All right. If Gigi's being nice, then I'll let him stay. Who else? All right. Let's see. Anthony Bridgewater, great talent, just hasn't got a chance to show it. I was surprised when the Vikings got rid of him. I was too, man. Or like, I was surprised that they got rid of him. It was pretty crazy. Grimy said Bridgewater for sure, plenty of upside still. I agree. Raider Dave, man. MCH, keep Carr one more year, draft a QB. I can't see it, dude. I'll get into it a little bit into a minute, but I can't see it. Anthony said Winston not afraid to throw the ball downfield, good arm, and just his accuracy is off. I haven't watched a lot of Jameis Winston. I don't watch a lot of other teams other than the Raiders, so it's hard for me to like be pro or against. It's just something that like, if I take off my fan hat and I look at this like through Gruden's eyes, I'm like, I could see Gruden pulling the trigger on some of these guys. I really could, man, all right. I was just trying to catch up, man. And Raider Critique said Wilder got stomped. Furry hanging with Strowman too much. That's funny. Kings Only said, shout out to Watts. Hell yeah, man. I miss Watts. We need to get together again and clap it up, man. Chop it up. And he was, I think that was to critique me. He was like, good to see you in the chat. It's not the same without you. You had a lot, and you're a funny guy too. I don't know if that was to me or critique, but I'm not going to go too far back up. But keep moving on, as my brother Mojo says, forward or onward, I think is what he says. So, all right, do we really want to do this? I'm like, oh man. Now, and what world and what, like, I don't know if this is the fucking Twilight Zone or what, Raider Nation, but I don't know in what world, like, did I eat the blue pill or the red pill? Is this the fucking Matrix? And what world do I have to sit here and talk about fucking Tom Brady being a Raider? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've heard everybody takes, I've heard some people like, well, you know, we had like Romanowski on our team and Rice and all these other players, dude, but nobody's like Brady, man. Nobody is tied to the Raiders with a tuck game and everything else than Brady is, you know. I found out, man, it was like 3 years ago. I found out I was watching NFL Network and it's like, you know, something about Tom Brady's birthday. And I'm like, Tom Brady's birthday? I'm like, no. I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, today's my birthday. How's it fucking his birthday? And I had to rewind it. Dude, I found out like 3 years ago, me and that motherfucker have the same birthday. I literally like wanted to go fucking jump off a cliff and like it was crazy how I felt like my whole existence in this life because I share a birthday with Tom Brady. Like I just wanted to fucking die, you know? And so I hate the guy. I've wanted nothing more than for us to have a redemption against Tom Brady and break the Brady curse. However, now about 6 months, I don't know, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago, we were, you know, I was doing some stuff with Raider Ben back then, and me, Raider Ben, and then Raider Cody was on. Mike Fulio did some talk about Brady being a Raider and stuff, and it was like, it pissed me off. And so, you know, I made it one of the topics, you know, because I thought it'd be something funny to talk about at the time, you know. But at the same time, like, as much as I didn't want to even like think about it, I started thinking about it. I started thinking about Tom Brady, like when our season had just started. Cause like for me, I'm like, dude, as a Raider fan, how could I even talk about Tom Brady being a Raider? You know, that goes against my blood, dude. Everything bleeding silver and black. So this topic for me, this is a tough topic to talk about Tom Brady. J-Dog, man, what's up? Yeah, it's a tough thing with Brady. This Brady thing's a tough thing. It really is, man. I've waited 2 months to talk about this. And I've heard some of the clickbait shit, but my opinions, like I said, were long before the clickbait shit. I started thinking about this before the season was over. The whole don't get macked thing is because I could see some shit like this happening. All right. I was at the Broncos game, as I've stated in a previous podcast I've done. Gruden was literally walking away from Derek Carr in mid-sentence when Derek Carr would come off the field, like Derek Carr comes off the field to explain like what happened and why, you know, he wasn't producing or whatever. And Gruden literally turned his back and walked away in mid-sentence. Now, that is a red flag. If you are a player and you're a coach and your coach is doing that to your players, especially your quarterback, that's not good. That's not good. Because to me, that means that Gruden's given up on Derek Carr. Now, I was at the game. This wasn't no Stephen A. Jackass, Mike Fulio, or any of those dumb fucks. I seen this with my own eyes. I seen what you guys don't see on TV. I seen Derek Carr going and sitting on the bench, not getting with his wide receivers, not looking at the playbook. These are red flags, man. I'm telling you guys. So as all this shit is blown up and everybody's like, oh my God, the sky is falling, you know, you got to take off your filtered lens, man. Put on your coaching hat. And if you do that, then it's not as crazy as it sounds. All right. Let's start with Tom Brady's perspective and view. Oh my God. This is going to be hard to talk about, man. Oh shit. All right. So this is like Brady's view of what he would look for as far as a team and stuff. Okay. Now with Brady and the Patriots, respect and the bad blood there. You know, I don't see Tom Brady wanting to be a Patriot anymore. Now think about it like this. If any of you guys have ever like been employed like for a number of years for an employer, a business, a company, and you help that company prosper because of your hard work and you weren't compensated or you weren't appreciated, at some point it hits a tipping point, and either you put in your 2 weeks, hopefully you don't burn a bridge, you know, and stuff. But if there's bad blood there, at some point you will not want to be part of that company anymore. And no matter what they pay you, you will get to a point where you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck you. I'm out of here. And anybody that's lived life long enough knows that to be true. Okay. I said it before. I'll say it again. I'll save it for the end. But so the bad blood that is there in the Patriots organization, I don't think Brady wants any part of it anymore. And this isn't Stephen A's take or anything like that. I felt this shit like long before the season even ended, dude. Like you could just tell that it's got no point where it's toxic, dude. Like, and if you're Tom Brady, as much as I hate the guy, think about his perspective, dude. You brought a team to a Super Bowl 9 fucking times, and you've won 6 Super Bowls, and your coach and some of the other things in play, for one, don't respect you, and they don't want you to be part of the team to like retire essentially. Give the dude 2 fucking more years, man. I mean, they're dumb as fuck in my opinion. If he had been on the Raiders and the Tuck game never happened, he got his 6 rings. Fucking play till you're 60, man. I don't give a fuck. If somebody got the Raiders 6 rings, dude, I'm serious. Play till you're at least 50. I'll give you a contract right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you think about it from Brady's view, dude, why would you still want to be part of that, man? And of course, there's always the take that Belichick has only done it because of Brady, and Brady's only done it because of Belichick, dude. If you're a prideful guy like Brady, you're not going to want to be part of that anymore. You're going to want to prove that you can be old as fuck and have wrinkly balls, and you're going to go out and do it for another team. Okay. That's my opinion. We all know that he was a 6th round pick, and that dude loves to be hated. Tom Brady loves to be hated, dude. It gives him drive. You know how long he carried on the, oh, it was a 6th round pick. He carried that shit for like 5 or 6 years in the NFL. He was still crying about being a 6th round pick like 10 years into his NFL career. I'm like, dude, how many Super Bowls have you won? Get over yourself, you know? His wife, Giselle, is a model, you know? Like, what is going to be the best family fit for Tom Brady, you know? You know, I've heard stuff where Giselle doesn't like LA because it's like maybe too busy or something like that. But Vegas is only a 45-minute flight from LA. You know, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. You don't have to be caught up in the crazy ass life, but still be close enough, you know? Financial compensation and guaranteed money. That's going to be a huge thing for Brady. He's 43 years old. He's not wanting at 43. You're not, or he's going to be 43. You're not going to want to get slammed into the fucking ground, dude. Tom Brady is not going to a team where he's going to get his fucking ass licked off the turf or the grass every Sunday. He's only going to go to a team that can protect him and block him. And if you were 43, you wouldn't want to be getting your clock clean like that either. So it's going to be a team that has a good offensive line. And he's old, dude. Imagine being 43, playing in the snow and shit in December and January and the Patriots Stadium. Anybody that's old, if you lived in the snow or worked in the snow, the older you get, when it's cold out, man, your bones hurt. And I can't imagine being 43 years old and getting my ass kicked at times and, you know, questionable talent around and stuff like that. And to keep playing in the cold. Brady's going to want to play in a warm place. All right. The TB12 brand and, you know, growth, like where is the best place where the TB12 brand is going to grow? Like Tom Brady's taking snake oil. I don't even know much about it, but I guess he takes some snake oil that makes him young again. Sounds really weird and like almost satanic to me, but hey, man, if he's rubbing some snake oil on his balls and it makes him throw deflated balls a little better, well, I guess he's going to want to, you know, prove that his workout program and whatever he's taken helps him. Like that's what he wants to do. That's why he wants to play till he's 45. He wants to prove that he can play till he's 45, keep his youth, and that his program works because that's his brand and that's what he wants to promote. You know, he's going to go to a team that has a good running game, a running back that can catch, that can run, you know, obviously, but also catch and then pass block. You know, tight end. He's going to want to go to a team that has a great tight end so he can do some shorter passes. He doesn't have the deep arm like he used to, you know. Also a team that has a good slot wide receiver. Look at Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. Now I'm drawing blank on the other guy. Edelman and Amendola. Like all those guys are like short slot wide receiver shifty guys, you know, that he excelled with. You know, Brady wants to win without Belichick. Talked about that. I came up with this. I don't even know why I wrote this down. This one sucks. What better way than to tuck the Patriots and stick it to them, you know? Like going to a team where the tuck game happened and stuff, and I could see it happening, you know? And I already know Brady hates the Raiders, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So a lot of people are like, Brady would not want to go and play against Mahomes, you know? I don't think that's true for one fucking second, dude. Brady don't give a shit. He's going to be 45 years old, and he wants to go against those young bucks to prove that he's still got it. Anybody that's up there in age and has been in this earth long enough, when younger guys come around, you always want to prove that you still got it. You still got that, moxie or oxy or whatever, to prove, you can still hang with the young dogs, man, that have maybe, a little less years under the tires. You know what I'm saying? So to me, there's no way that Brady's afraid to play against Mahomes. I think he'd want to embrace that, no matter what team he went to. All right. So that's Brady's view. All right. Here's John Gruden's view, in my opinion. I think John Gruden's done with Derek Carr. I think leadership's a huge thing. I think if Gruden signed Tom Brady, I think the leadership aspect of having a veteran like that and to lead, even though Tom Brady don't like to lead young guys, I think that the transition from leadership could be a huge thing to have a guy with the amount of leadership that Tom Brady has. It sets the tone. It sets the bar. It separates the men from the boys. All right. The growth of Vegas and the Raiders brand. Okay. Now, a lot of people, forget, in my opinion, Gruden and some of the things he said that I'm going to talk about here in a minute about the importance of branding, essentially. How many more wins can Brady get versus Carr? That's a question I think Gruden would ask. What is the best transition of leadership from a vet QB to a young QB? Okay. That's the leadership I was just talking about. How can Brady make players around him better? How can Brady make players around him better? What options does Brady have with the Raiders after he retires? Is Tom Brady going to want to coach for a team? And we got a new stadium, man. I mean, it's very enticing for players young and old. It's the change of guard. It's the change into a new era, Now, if anybody don't know, you should know how envious, and I don't mean envious at a small degree. I mean absolutely insanely envious John Gruden is of the Patriots. He wants to know what they're thinking, what they do, how they tie their shoes, how their jerseys are stacked up in the locker room next to each other. He wants to know every fucking detail of what the Patriots do and why they are so successful. Probably a lot to do with the tuck game. Tom Brady's part of it. Belichick's part of it. But Gruden is, of all the coaches in the NFL, he's probably the number one coach that's more envious of the Patriots than anybody else. So if you're a coach and you're envious of the Patriots, what better way to stick it to them than try to get their quarterback? It's crazy to think about. Brady, I think Brady would help Gruden's offense to grow and improve, Not just anybody can go in there and tell John Gruden this, and this. I mean, think about how many quarterbacks could go in there, like some people are like, oh, Cam Newton would be a great Raider. Now, Cam Newton's got talent. I hate Cam Newton, but Cam Newton and John Gruden would not get along. Now, Tom Brady has the pedigree and the respect from years of play where if he tells John Gruden this is how it fucking is, John Gruden's going to listen. If Derek Carr tried to do that, John Gruden's going to tell him to go fuck himself. Why? Because what is Derek Carr? It's like, I don't even remember, like lost 55 games and he's like 13-31 since his contract. Gruden's just not going to accept it, man. But a guy like Tom Brady is in there like, hey, our offense needs to do this, this, and this. Gruden's going to listen up. Part of that envious, all right? The West Coast checkdowns, and slash deep balls. Derek Carr does a lot of checkdowns. If Brady's arm is done to throw too many deep balls, I think Gruden has no problem checking the ball down to the midfield. And if that's what Brady can do, I think he can do it more accurately than Derek Carr, and I think Gruden would consider that. And Brady's not a long-term deal. This would be a 1-2 year deal, you know? All right. Is Brady at 43 better than Derek Carr at 29? Gruden loves veteran quarterbacks. Deciding Brady, bring Antonio Brown back to the Raiders. That's another subject I'm not going to talk about, but I think Gruden would consider that. Gruden is going to do whatever it takes, to win. All right. And if you guys don't remember, guess what Gruden said? Remember what John Gruden said during Antonio Brown's press conference last year. He said Antonio Brown can score touchdowns, sell tickets, and sell popcorn at halftime. Why does John Gruden care if popcorn's being sold at halftime? Obviously, he was somewhat joking around, but there was probably some truth in that. I might talk about Antonio Brown another time, but I'll say this. Had Antonio Brown not came to the Raiders in 2019, how many Raider fans would have filled up that stadium? Because in the year prior, in 2018, I mean, shit was toxic, man. It was not good. Antonio Brown coming to the Raiders, guess what? It brought in free agents. It brought in hype. And even though he never even played it down and we didn't have to pay that $30 million, without Antonio Brown, I don't see it happening as much. Now, Raider Nation, yeah, we're diehard. We go to games, but I don't think it would have been the same. We sold a lot of tickets, and John Gruden made a statement in that presser about selling tickets and selling popcorn. So for some reason, John Gruden already knew in the back of his head that selling tickets and selling popcorn is important. Go figure. All right. One of the other things is that Gruden has toned down a lot from being Chucky, he hasn't gotten as crazy as, a lot of other times that we've seen John Gruden. We've seen Hard Knocks, I want better execution, and whatnot. But I think the fact that Gruden is toned down some might entice somebody like Brady to want to come on board. He's had a few episodes, but a lot of us been waiting for the Chucky to break out, man. Full-time Chucky. Just haven't seen it, So I think John Gruden understands a guy like Brady. I think a guy like Brady has drive, has goals, has a deep desire that surpasses a lot of people. And I hate the guy. I hate to even talk about this, but I think a guy like Gruden, that's a grinder, understands that Brady has that same drive, So that's Gruden's perspective on Tom Brady, and I think that's Tom Brady's perspective on what he's going to be looking for, okay? All right. So here's the list I'm going to go over, all right? The quarterbacks, rookies, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Gordon. Just going to leave it at that. Those are the guys that, in my opinion, some guys I think John Gruden and the Raiders should be looking at. And as we're getting into this, I'm going to get my regular fan hat back on. So now I can give my own personal opinion about all this shit, even though I kind of already did on some of it. But with Tom Brady and all this stuff, man, some of you guys that were like 8 years old and younger, to me, those people's opinions are null and void. If your balls hadn't dropped and you hadn't hit puberty when the Tuck game happened, you don't remember how painful it was. You just don't. That's the harsh reality. Kids getting into it, like as if they've been a Raider fan for the last 30 years, 40 years, and like they remember the Tuck game and they were wearing diapers when that shit happened. They have no fucking clue. But us diehard Raider fans remember how painful that game was. I've been preaching every year to have redemption against the Patriots and Tom Brady. I thought 2016 it might happen. I was like, no, it's going to be 2017. Derek Carr is going to do it this year. And I'm like, oh, Gruden's back, man. Going to do it in 2018. I don't know. It's going to be 2019. This is it. Carr's going to come on the scene, dude. We got weapons. He's going to be the leader and step up and be that guy. Nope. So, I don't know. Tom Brady, at the UFC fight and Mark Davis, obviously that blew up. They had 15-minute conversation or something. But I found something interesting through my endeavors over the last 2 months or whatever it's been, month. After the UFC fight, there was a guy who was at the UFC fight, and his wife was a waitress at a restaurant. And Mark Davis, Tom Brady, and Dana White went out to dinner after the UFC fight. And they talked and had a conversation, had dinner for like about 2 hours at a high-end restaurant. Now, if there's no legitimacy to this, this has nothing to do with Stephen A. Nobody's reported on this. Nobody in Raider Nation has talked about this. But if there's no legitimacy to Brady coming to the Raiders potentially, and that the Raiders aren't interested, why the fuck would you go out to dinner with Tom Brady? Unless you're courting him. Like a man courting his wife, a future wife, or a girlfriend. Dating. Dana White is a Patriots fan. Probably a huge Tom Brady fan. Dana White has said if he's not going to be a Patriot, he's going to be a Raider or needs to be a Raider. And then he joked around. He's like, well, I don't know anything about that. Like, he pulled out the dummy card because he said too much. The motherfucker was there right before that having dinner with Mark Davis and Tom Brady. And he's like, trying to be UFC/NFL reporter breaking news. And then like, oh shit, I fucked up and said something I shouldn't have. The Vegas hype and Tom Brady, I could see it happening, man. The offensive play calling and help Gruden. The transition of leadership from old to young. The Antonio Brown thing. I don't think Gruden gives a fuck. I just think he wants to win. And I think Gruden will do anything at all costs, no matter what. He's got a 10-year contract. If we win a Super Bowl and it happened, could you complain? I don't know. It's hard. It's like selling your soul to the fucking devil, man. I think Brady gives us 1 to 2 more years if the Raiders got him. I think Brady would give us 1 to 2 more wins than Derek Carr if he was a Raider. There's only one way I could see myself accepting Brady as of now. Now we start winning games and stuff. We'll see what happens. But if Brady became a Raider and in his introduction press conference, Tom Brady said, because he would get asked. Make no mistake about it. Tom Brady would get asked about the tuck game. If Tom Brady came out and he said he fumbled the ball, would you accept him? Would you accept him in the silver and black if he finally admitted it? I mean, we know it. And actually, there's 3 important things that happened this year with Tom Brady. That of all the fucking years that this happens with Tom Brady, that nobody in the Raider content creators have talked about. I'm going to tell you what those 3 things are. 1, Tom Brady gets interviewed by Charles Woodson, and Charles Woodson has wanted to ask Tom Brady about the tuck game for many years. Charles Woodson finally got to ask Tom Brady about the tuck game and if it was a fumble. That was the first thing Charles Woodson asked him. And Tom Brady was like this. Like a little kid getting scolded by the principal. You could tell he was fucking guilty. All of Raider Nation knows it was a fumble. I trolled Tom Brady. I said, man, even after all these years, you can't man the fuck up and admit that it was a fumble. Obviously, he didn't say nothing. I don't know if he blocked me, but that shit pissed me off. And then what happened after that? I think it was in October or something. You go to Tom Brady's Twitter. Tom Brady's like, I've never been the most, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like, I've never been the most rushing quarterback in the NFL, but, by whatever means it takes to get it done, just win, baby. I was livid, dude. Tom Brady said, just win, baby. Anybody out there that's a football fan knows that, dude, that's like Raider Nation, man. There's only one nation. It's Raider Nation. Everybody else riding on our coattails trying to steal our slogans. And now you got Tom Brady using our slogans in his fucking mouth. And then the third thing that happened was he was on Peyton Manning's places, and he admitted to Peyton Manning that it was a fumble. So how is it on this year that he's going to be a free agent of all the years that Tom Brady gets asked by Charles Woodson, he says, just win, baby. And then the third thing that he says, or that he does, is admits to Peyton Manning that it was a fumble in the Tuck game. Now, Tom Brady grew up a Niner fan. We know that. I hate Tom Brady. He hates the Raiders. Tom Brady's not going to be a Patriot. He's not going to Chargers with a weak offensive line. He's not going to go to the Colts he would always be living under Peyton Manning's shoes and shadow. Who else? The Titans. They'd be stupid to get rid of Tannehill. The Bucks. I can't see Tom Brady going to the Bucks. Who else is there? So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. My head hurts thinking about it. But I think about it from another perspective. And this motherfucker hates to be hated. Loves to be hated. Tom Brady loves to be hated. It gives him drive. It gives Tom Brady fuel to be hated and to bring it to the table, dude. At 43 years old, maybe that's what he needs. I'll tell you right now, as much as I hate Tom Brady and we hate him, if we're like 8-0 or 8-1, if he became a Raider, I don't know if I could hate the guy still. I don't. I could see him using that hate and flipping it and getting a whole damn fan base behind him. I think the only other fit for Tom Brady would be the 49ers. And they'd have to get rid of Garoppolo. I don't see that happening. So a lot of crazy stuff to think about, you know? Crazy, man. And what world do I have to sit here and talk about Tom Brady being a Raider? It's like, oh my God. And I'm done with Derek Carr. So I'm exploring options, guys. And so is Jon Gruden. And Raider Nation should too. There ain't nothing that's going to keep. The only way Derek Carr stays our quarterback, if he says he wants to be a Raider and all this stuff, he hasn't earned his contract. I'll talk about some different things. The only thing I'll say about it, give him a pay cut. Offer him 15, 7. I think 17 is too high. Give him $15 million a year and see if he'll take the pay cut for his team. Tom Brady's done it. A lot of great players in the NFL have done it for their teammates and to stay part of a team. If he wants to be a Raider, if you guys are Christian or you know the Bible, it says you will know someone by their fruit. Put him to the test, and you'll know him by his actions. And if not, I mean, we're going to find out here real soon, guys. We got draft, we got the combine coming up. Got free agency, got the draft. This shit's going to be hitting full bore. And Jon Gruden's going to get asked about it, and so is Mike Mayock. Now, Jon Gruden says a lot of shit, and we all know, if Jon Gruden wants to trade Derek Carr, here's what I'm going to tell you guys right now. He's not going to be like, Derek Carr sucks. I don't want him as my quarterback, and, he didn't give me enough execution. That's not how you build up someone's brand. To trade them, you say he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Dude, Derek Carr did so great. Derek Carr threw the best dirt bullets in the whole NFL. Like, I've never seen a quarterback throw the ball to the dirt so damn good. But Derek Carr, he did it better than anybody else in the year this year. I'm really proud of my quarterback. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. But you guys know what I'm saying, right? Jon Gruden is going to talk Carr up, just like he's been doing all season. But if you go to the actions, the fruit of Jon Gruden when he's walking away from him in the middle of a game, and you've seen what I've seen, you would know that this coach is fucking done with Derek Carr. He is, man. I don't see any other way around it. And so am I. I'll break it down at another point in time how I got to this place. There's a lot of multiple things how I came to the place to be willing to move on from Derek Carr. I don't know what's going to happen at quarterback. There's essentially, in my opinion, about 10 teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback heavy. And there's 12 starters in the NFL or in the draft that are potential starters, and possibly even more than that. Could be up to like 15. But there's going to be some guys that are going to be left hanging, and all it's going to take is for one to fall. It could be Teddy Bridgewater. It could be Tannehill, Winston, Mariota. If we kept Carr, I would be enticed to bring in Mariota. If we could get him for $7 to $10 million a year, I might want to entertain that. If we get an old school guy like Tom Brady or somebody like that, or even Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr is making like 22.5. We paid him like 2.6 or something. We'll just say 2.5 million. So now his contract's down to like 19.5. So if you do that, the 5 million dead cap space, it'd be about $27 million for Derek Carr. Like if you look at it, like if he wasn't our quarterback, so he's not our quarterback. We got to pay a guy like Tom Brady $30 million. Okay. We were paying Derek Carr 22.5. Okay. If you pay Tom Brady 30, it's more like 35 million because you have to eat 5 million in your dead cap space, to a certain degree for money you have to work with. So you look at it like that and you're like, okay, so 35, 25, it's like a difference of $12 million. So would a person like Tom Brady be worth an additional $12 million? I don't know. Teddy Bridgewater, would be probably 25 to 30 million range. Say you get him for 25. If you got rid of Carr, is a difference of $7 million going to be worth it to invest in somebody like Teddy Bridgewater and get rid of Derek Carr? If you go with someone old, then I think you draft someone young, like a Tua or someone that's, or maybe, go in the third round. If you get a star talent, like now, get somebody maybe a little more mediocre in the draft. If you don't get someone, then maybe get someone higher in the draft, to like start more sooner than later kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And remember, we got some quarterbacks next year as well. The Clemson quarterback. Gruden loves Clemson guys, especially that Clemson coach. I really like that Clemson coach, but Trevor Lawrence, you'd have to tank or give up a lot for that. But if Gruden wants Trevor Lawrence and he'll give up the kitchen sink next year, then what do we got to do now to get Trevor Lawrence next year? That's the other part of this. If our quarterback's not in the draft this year, what do we got to do next year to get Trevor Lawrence? If that's Gruden's guy. So there's a lot of moving pieces, we can get on here. I can roast fools, and we can all attack each other, or we can think about this with like a somewhat level-headed brain and look at this from an outer perspective, like put your GM hat on, put your coaching hat on. If we take our fandom out of it, then some of the shit makes sense. And I'm not talking about Stephen A and those dumb fucks. I'm just saying that from a coaching perspective, from a production standpoint, some of these things I could see happening. So, that's why I wanted to do this video, just to go over some of these things. And, just get into it right before the combine, because, there could be some things happening in the combine, and, we'll see what happens. I'm going to roll back up in the chat a little bit. And, all right, we're going to start with, I'm not going to be able to go all the way up because I'll be here all night, but, start with Raider Critique, man. He said, I'm not looking to move backward. I want to move forward. Bringing in Tom Brady on this team would be a huge mistake. It's like putting ourselves a step backward, 42 years old, over the hill. I love you, Critique, but that depends if he got us to the playoffs and if he could get us far in the playoffs. I think a lot of our hatred towards Brady is obviously the Tuck game and our fandom, but I've had leaders in my life like Derek Carr, and I've had coaches and trainers and things like that, leaders in my life like John Gruden. And Derek Carr is not the kind of guy to set the tone. You know, you have two people in this life. You have for guys, for males, you have your alpha dogs, your leaders, and you have followers. And Derek Carr is not an alpha dog. He's not. He could be, but he's not. So the changing of the guard needs to be an alpha dog that sets the tone for the future of the Raiders. I don't give a fuck who it is, but it ain't Derek Carr. Tom Brady's proven he's an alpha dog. As much as I hate the guy. Southside Raider said he told Seawood. Yeah, he did. Seawood found out about that. Critique said 2 years, $60 million. That puts us in cap purgatory. So if he doesn't work out, we were going to draft a new quarterback. It's not necessarily draft purgatory. I mean, Carr's making 22.5. It's another $8 million a year. I'm not, it's not the best financial situation, but it's also not the worst. Almost all quarterbacks are going to be between 25 and 30. You know what's put us in purgatory cap hell is Derek Carr getting paid top 10 quarterback money and being in the 15 to 20 range for 3 fucking years. Derek Carr has not earned his contract. That's purgatory fucking hell. How many wins have we got out of a $125 million fucking ripoff contract? $25 million a year. 517 Way for Life. What's up, man? He said he's better than Carr at 42 facts. Metal Vault said Brady, the new age Gannon. That's funny. What's up, man? Jules for Life. What's up? Appreciate you for coming in. Jonathan, what's up? Without a defense, Brady's nothing. That could be, but I'm not exactly sold on that. I think he still can throw the ball in the middle of the field and throw accurately. J Dog, what's up, brother? He said we're going for Trevor next year. Let's see what else we got in here. All right, J Dog said this ain't happening. Sign Brady for 2 years and then draft Trevor Lawrence next year to learn under Brady in a perfect world. J Dog, I like what you're spitting, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head because that's what I think Gruden's thinking. And it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad plan. If Carr's not the guy, continuing on with the guy, you're just dragging dead weight. And then you're going to set the tone of mediocrity for your next guy. You don't want that. Critique said if we trade Carr, get a second-round pick out of him so we can get one second if we needed to. I think so when the season ended, I thought it'd be really hard to get a second round for Carr. But kind of the way things are going and as many quarterbacks that are kind of floating around and stuff, I don't know if it helps us or hurts us, but I can see us getting a second at this point for him, at least a third. But Miguel, what's up, brother, man? Sean Athletics, man, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good. And he said, I would say no to Brady, but we don't make the decision. We will have some needs, receiver on defense, secondary. Yeah. We're all backseat drivers, man. I don't care how many subscribers anybody has in the Raider Nation, dude. Nobody fucking knows what Gruden's going to do. That's why I said don't get macked. He's a crazy motherfucker. He'll do anything, dude. Gruden does not care. He's going to do what he thinks is best. Whether or not it's best, I mean, who knows, man? We're pretty happy about Max Crosby now, aren't we? And he wasn't even one of the picks we got for Mac. But when Mac got traded, people were like burning jerseys and shit. Dude, Raider Nation got crazy. Well, guess what? John Gruden don't look so fucking crazy now, does he? So, just saying. A lot of people had one take and you guys switched. All right. David Marks, he said, I remember bringing Plunkett in at the end of his career. Where did Plunkett come from? New England. Just saying, haha. That is kind of funny, actually. Pretty interesting. J-Dog said having 2 running backs, we could equal as good as we need to be, or equally be as good as we need to be. That's not a bad take to me, because like having 2 running backs, if you have some check down quarterbacks, could be very interesting to see what we could do, And you said pound the ball. Hell yeah, man. And Critique said back to old school football, pound the rock, dude. Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. J-Dog said we need Ruggs for the offense. That's not a bad idea. Here's where I'm at in the draft. My first initial take is Jerry Jeudy, either Isaiah Simmons, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, or trade back and get Henry Ruggs. That's my initial thought. If you can't get any of those, if those 3 guys aren't there, trade back and get Henry Ruggs. J-Dog said Henry's a better wide receiver over Jeudy. He could be, man. I didn't watch a whole lot of college ball, but I've seen some stuff, man. That boy's quick, man. Mean dude, still in here. Appreciate you, man. He said, speedy receiver with guys we have a 40-year-old QB. We'll have enough time to get a pass off with our O-line. It's not like the man is 7-8 years old and we have shitty blockers. Exactly, man. And think about this, man. Trent Brown is a Raider. Where did Trent Brown play before the Raiders? He was on the Patriots, man. I'm telling you, dude, like, it's crazy to think about, but if you put on your coaching hat, like, I could see this shit happening. And some of it makes sense, dude. Like, you got to take off your fan hat. That's why I did that shit. Take off your fan hat, put on your GM hat, and you'll be able to see it. Like, that the Tom Brady thing could have some legitimate, stuff. So, GG said, get a D tackle, keep Carr, y'all good. David Marks, quarterbacks coming out these days and taking their teams to Super Bowl in 2 years. That's true, David Marks, man. Like, and that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I'll talk about Carr more another time, but there was one thing that happened this year that really got me to open up my eyes, and that was Raider Dave, dude, Grimecast. Dude, that poor guy was on vacation, and I was arguing with him like we lost our second game against the Chiefs because our defense sucks, and I pretty much ruined the guy's fucking vacation in Hawaii, dude, because I was so pissed. And I feel bad. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm still sorry about that. But Dave made an interesting point. He said, he wasn't trying to give the defense a pass, but Dave's take essentially is that in today's NFL, you have to be able to score touchdowns and score points. You have to have a quarterback that can score points. And I was pissed because we lost, but I started thinking about it, and I'm like, Dave's fucking right, man. Dave is right. We need a quarterback that can score points. We're not in the, like, I don't know, some of the other divisions, but, like the Titans division or some of these other divisions, they don't have the same competition we have, dude. We got to think about how can we beat Patrick Mahomes and the fucking Chiefs? How can we score points? Is it just wide receiver, or, we get X, Y, and Z, and then, we're going to be able to compete with the Chiefs? If we just kind of make the playoffs or go 8-8, that's great. We all get participation trophies and we all give each other a pat on the back. Good job, everybody. Yay. We did kind of good. Congratulations. You guys kind of did good. You guys went 9-7, 7-9. It's football. We're here to win. Tired of mediocrity. We got to score fucking points. And if Carr can't do that, we got to figure out whatever to accomplish that. All right. GG said we're close to being great, man. Appreciate that. Well, I just lost my spot there. All right. Where are we at? Dave Mark said he's not the guy. He's just not the guy. He shows in his play. We don't do good even if our receivers were any good because Carr never gave them a chance. Every defense we played was locking them down, locking down all our guys. That's true, man. Look at what is the Honey Badger dude said on the Chiefs. How much of that is Carr, scheme, or Gruden? I tend to agree with you. Raider Critique said he's never had a true number one wide receiver. We had Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Neither guy can fucking make a catch to save their life. I mean, so I'll agree with critique on this about the drop passes with Crabtree and Cooper. They did pretty good in 2016, and 2017 was like, what the hell happened? And the big drop off. All right. But the other thing that Raider Nation, when I started this and I said we're not being honest with ourselves, what did I say? I said we're not being honest with ourselves. Now, Derek Carr threw some balls that wide receivers dropped, yes. But the other part of that is throwing dirt bullets, throwing balls to the ground on 3rd and 4th down. And then the other part of that is how much of this was Derek Carr overthrowing, guys. Remember Waller? I can't remember what game it was. He threw it like a foot over Waller's head. Waller's a tall dude, you know? So you can't just say that it's just all on the wide receivers. Derek Carr has a huge part to play in this, and he didn't play good enough. So I'm just going to leave that at that. But Jules for Life said, what receivers are worth a bean since 2016? Our team has put Carr in winless situations. Not good for Cooks and Gordon. He said, Mean said, or keep Carr, somehow trade for Stephon Diggs. I'm another one who just wants to see the Raiders win. Dave Mark said, at least freaking run. 517 way. Carr can't win in the cold, so we have to move on. Jules said, I don't want Carr, but want a Mariota that's interception prone and terrible at reading coverage. I mean, you can say the same thing about Derek Carr, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, you get, like, people in Raider Nation, like, we look at it through a filtered lens, and a lot of it's because, like, we're so invested emotionally in Derek Carr. And, people love to throw out stats and stuff that are skewed. And I'll break them down at some point. And either this is just my hunch, without looking too deep into it, how much of Derek Carr's stats, how much total of his 4,000 yards, he's great. He hit 4,000 yards. Guess what 4,000 yards today is? That's what 3,500 yards used to be in Gannon's era, or 3,200 yards. It's an offense-driven league with offenses that are, where the game is catered around offenses. Whoop-de-doo, he threw 4,000 yards. How much of the 4,000 yards were in the last 3 to 4 minutes of the game when the game was over? Remember how many yards Carr got against the Vikings at the last minutes of the game? It was all garbage time. The Vikings didn't even care if we went down the fucking field. I'm going to guess, just in the Vikings game alone, I'm going to guess in the last, we'll say, 4 minutes of the game, I bet you Carr got about 180 yards in garbage time. I'm just going to throw it out there. 150 to 180 yards in garbage time the last 4 minutes of the game in the Vikings. And that's just one game. So, you got to think about it that, when we think about this stuff and we're like, oh, well, Mariota is like Derek Carr. Well, go to years prior when Derek Carr threw a lot of interceptions and got sacks. And we were like, oh, well, he needs an offensive line. He's going to do great with an offensive line. We get offensive line, and then we're like, oh, well, he just needs this. Every year we've been saying, like, Carr just needs this. We've been saying it for 6 years, dude. I was saying it for 5.5. Halfway through the season, nope. I'm done. I can't do it no more. I can't support a guy that's going to go sit on the bench and not be like a Peyton Manning when he's making top dollar. Oh, well, it's not that bad. He makes 11. He's 11th ranked in the NFL for paid quarterback. 22 whatever million's pretty good right now. Come on, guys. He was the top paid quarterback at one point. We haven't gotten it out of him. We should have. He should have found a way to make the players around him better. So if Derek Carr can have years where he sucks and we find all these excuses, what makes you think that that John Gruden can't take a guy who still has ceiling? We've seen Derek Carr's ceiling, in my opinion. We've seen it. And the only thing we have to compare it with is 2016. Well, you know what else happened in 2016? Marcus Mariota took the fucking Tennessee Titans into the Chiefs Stadium in the cold and beat the Chiefs. Marcus Mariota did something that Derek Carr hasn't done once. and we play the Chiefs twice a year, but once in Arrowhead. But like, do the math. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying Mariota's the next best thing since sliced bread, but I mean, think about it. I mean, if you could, even if we didn't draft a guy, or if we drafted a guy and we didn't do the Tom Brady thing, get rid of Carr, right? Bring in a guy like Mariota, pay him $10 million, plus your draft pick. You save what? It's probably be a difference. You might save $10 million on your quarterback position that you can apply in other areas of the field. That doesn't sound like such a bad idea. If John Gruden can bring out the best in Mariota or have Mariota to be a backup, I'm just saying, man. I mean, we could have another year of dirt bullets too, man. I love dirt bullets, man. How many people when the game's on the line, you're like, dude, throw that ball to the dirt. Let's go, man. I get so excited when I see our quarterback throw the ball to the fucking ground and give up. Why can't he have the passion that half of Raider Nation has? All right. I'm going to take a quick minute here, and then we'll close this thing out. Got a minute and a half of videos for you. Here we go.
I'm not going anywhere. This is my team, and it will be for the next however long I want to play. Some guys are going to just get in your face and scream at you. I don't learn that way, because I'm like, I don't. What are we really doing? We're just saying loud words. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to, try and show you up. Every game you can't go out there and score 30, score 21 points and, call it a day. I don't want anyone to take anything away from the play that he made because it was very impressive. You have to give them the credit because they did a good job on this. We did put ourselves in position to make a run, and we didn't do it. It's just as simple as that, right? I leave those kind of things up to coach. My job is just to go through my reads and put the ball where coach wants it. Oh gosh, what's new with our crowd? Like, what? Yeah, whenever we don't win, that's going to happen. I'm sure they don't want to hear anything right now. That's my answer, man. Nobody cares. Happened before. Like, been here long enough. You play here long enough, it'll happen. But I don't think anything of it. It's happened for 6 years.
But the thing that I like this week, that was better than last week, nobody gave up. So
at the end of the day, I've been doing this long enough to know nobody cares, even if that's the case.
Is that a certainty that your quarterback is the end?
I'm not going to get into all the next year scenarios. I'm just going to say that, 7-9 is a step forward. Statistically, I think we took a step forward. We got to get a lot of guys healthy, and we got a lot of things to look at and evaluate before we start making any assumptions.
Negative 47% chance that they were going to draft somebody in my mind.
I think it's time for some fresh air.
What you guys think of that? That's our fearless leader right there. That's the guy that's going to get the better execution. Am I a car hater? No, I'm keeping it real. I'm calling it like it is. He's thrown some dimes at times. He's thrown some bullets. He shit the bed as well. And this year was not acceptable, in my opinion. Anybody that's a Raider fan, you guys think that's acceptable? Well, then hats off to you, man. You guys be you. I'm going to be me. And we'll see what happens, man. Nobody knows anything. There's only two people that know what the fuck's going on. That's John Gruden and Mike Mayock. We'll see what happens. But, I think I'm going to call it right there, guys, man. Appreciate you guys, everybody, for tuning in. And, we'll get some people going on. Maybe I'll wait till this car thing dies down and we can bring back some unity, and we'll see what happens. We'll see who's wrong, who's right. At the end of it, ain't going to matter. We're still going to be cheering for the silver and black. And again, don't get macked, Raider Nation. Do not get macked. That's why I'm doing this video. I'm not trying to convert you guys that you need to not support Derek Carr. If you want to support him, dude. That's great. Hats off to you, man. I'm calling it as I see it and as I feel and what I think this coaching staff is going to do. And I'm a fan. Hell yeah. We struggled for how many years without going to the playoffs? We go to the playoffs. We didn't do anything because Carr got hurt. It's been a tough go. I just want to win. I want to win so damn bad. How many people have been the ass end to everybody's fucking joke for how long? I didn't want Derek Carr last year when all that hype was going on. I didn't. I wanted him to step up to the plate and be the guy. He showed me who he is, man. And I took off my lenses, and it was a hard reality to face. But that's all I got, man. Just want to say I appreciate you guys. Mean, David Marks, J-Dog, Southside Raider, Raider Critique. Scroll back up here, man. Jules for Life, appreciate you as well. CA Sports, man, what's up? GG, good night, man. Anybody else I missed? Sean. And, you know, we're going to do this again here real soon, man. Got the combine coming up. Everybody, look for wide receivers, look for quarterbacks, linebackers, cornerbacks as well. And, you know, take off your lenses, man. We're fans, and our fandom sometimes gets in the way to see reality, and it sucks. I'm the same way. I'm a very passionate fan. But, you know, end this like we started. I just want to say appreciate you guys. Please sub to the channel, get the word out, and we're going to be bringing on other guests down the road, and we'll see how this thing plays out. It's an interesting offseason. And until next time, let's go Raiders. Hardcore Raider out.